enrolled in. It is the general program, and then the third is community solar. It's going again. Okay. So first I want to explain what community solar is.
My apologies, it's just jumping. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to
You're
stop
okay.
it.
Do you want me to share my screen instead?
Yeah, no, I think it's good now. No, what's going on? Stop. Okay.
That should work. And then instead of clicking down to go to the slide, you can just use the arrows on your keyboard.
Yeah. I'm trying to, I think I got that, but yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
You're good. You're good. I'm glad that I'm the one that's in the middle of this process. All right, everyone. So to explain what Community Solar is a really awesome program where there is an array of solar panels. Can you go back? There we go. So there's an array of solar panels within Illinois, providing actual solar energy to small businesses, multi-family homes, and just single-family homes within Evanston. And the benefit of this is that you don't actually have to install solar on your house, so you get to save money and not spend money, which is the best part about it. All right, next slide. So who can participate? Most Evanston residents are actually eligible. It is an opt-in service, and there's also services for smaller commercial customers also, which is really cool. So if you are a small business or manage a small business, you can actually try to opt in for this program. Next. So what are the benefits of community solar? There are two subscription options to help you save money. The first subscription option is the general subscription, which is a 20% off of your supply portion of your electric bill, which means that you will save 20% off a portion of your bill. And then the city, the city has a new novel idea to actually help low to moderate income residents within Evanston to actually receive 100% off the supply portion of their electric bill. So I want to clarify that this is not 20% off of your whole bill or 100% off of your whole bill. It's actually only a portion. So go ahead to the next slide and I can explain what that means. So there's a lot of numbers here, and I don't expect anyone to actually understand everything that's going on because I barely understand everything that's going on. But if you look at the top of these two different boxes, you have a 20% subscription value and a low income subscription value. And then if you look at the yellow boxes, that you see that there is a kWh, which means kilowatt hours, which is just the average usage of a single family home's electricity. And then there is a cost right next to that. So if you look at January, you see that the average cost of electricity was $39.97. And that's the same for both a normal and a low income. But then if you look at the red box, you can see that the actual payment that a person will be paying for a 20% subscription is 80% of that. So 20% off of the actual supply portion, what you're being charged directly for electricity, you won't have to pay. So you'll only pay 80% of that. And then at the bottom, you see a green box and it shows the annual savings of $102.20. And then if you look at the box to the right, the low income, you actually see that the entire supply portion of that subscription is off. So $510.98. So essentially a low to moderate income household only has to pay what we call a service fee. So the fee that you get just from having a supplier like ComEd, but you wouldn't actually have to pay for the electricity that you're using. Next slide. So the city, there's actually a couple community solar options in Evanston that are not vetted by the city and not backed up by the city. So this is something that is 100% backed by the city. The city has signed off on this and curated it on their own. And so community solar helps the city of Evanston reach its goal of 100% renewable energy by 2030. And then this low to moderate income subscription value helps support the equitable opportunities for all Evanston residents. So let's just make sure that every Evanston resident is able to benefit from living in Evanston. Next slide. All right, so next steps. First things first is the city, this process of supporting LMI residents is completely new. Evanston is probably one of the first to do this. So we're still figuring out the exact ratio, but one thing that a lot of people can really do to help out is that for every 20 to 50 subscriptions of the 20% normal subscription, we can actually help support one LMI subscription. So that's really awesome. If we get like 200 people to sign up for this, at least we'll get 4 LMI subscriptions. And then on top of that, we are hoping to launch this next week. Fingers crossed, I'm the one in charge of it. So I will be launching it next week, and you can start signing up by next week. And then just to really encourage, we really want Evanston residents to sign up for this program. We will actually be giving away a gift card to a local Evanston business for every 25 subscriptions we get. So sign up, please. And are there any questions?
I can't see the chat, you guys, so if you can see it, wonderful.
I'll monitor. Okay, if there are, oh, I see a hand raised. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Why would someone choose not? Oh my goodness, lots of questions. Okay, why would someone choose not to do this? That's a valid question. It might be that you aren't actually eligible to do it, or that you are benefiting from the aggregation program. Would this replace the renewable energy aggregation most of us are in now? The aggregation program is still exists, and you just have to opt out of aggregation to opt into community solar. So you can't do both. You do have to choose between one or the other. How do we get to know the existing service is renewable or not? The existing service, the aggregation service, or this community solar? What is LMI and how does one sign up? The LMI residents, we are still trying to work out. We will be setting up a form of application. We don't want to force anyone to income validate. So there will be a set of requirements that you can sign up for, and the city won't be vetting it. The actual providers will be vetting who will get the LMI subscriptions.
Real quick, Asia, I think also they're wondering what LMI stands for. So if you could say that. And also the person who asked about the previous question said community solar.
Oh, sorry, there's a lot of questions coming in. LMI is low to moderate income. And I don't have an exact definition of what like a low to moderate income person is in Evanston exactly, because obviously it varies depending on where you live. So the actual application process for low to moderate income will be up probably after the actual community solar process, subscription process is up. You should switch to community solar if you would like to. There will be a lot more information online. This is kind of the very first launching of it. And if you have more questions, I'm gonna make sure to put my information in the chat, and there will be postcards and website and lots of other stuff to tell you everything you need to know and to help you decide whether or not community solar is the correct fit for you. The Clearway one is not the same. I don't think so. The community solar Clearway, the one that we're doing right now is the first actual vetted community solar, but the Clearway one is still a very valid option for community solar. The only difference is that the Clearway one does not do the LMI ratio, so low to moderate income ratio. Is there a way to determine if there is a larger savings for us through the aggregation versus the community solar? That is a very great question, and I can actually look into that. I'm not sure what the difference in cost benefit is for aggregation to community solar. From my understanding right now, the aggregation program is being, there's going to be a new provider for aggregation, but I don't think that there's going to be a bigger cost savings than what you are already receiving right now. So I will look into if community solar will provide a bigger cost savings with this new program. Okay, everyone, if you have more questions, I'm gonna put my email in the chat and I will make sure to reach out to people if they feel like they need more questions answered. Thank you, everyone.
And there will also be time at the end for any general questions that we may not have gotten to.
Right. I think Jessica, you're next.
You pulled up my slide, so I
Oh,
guess I.
that's the order. I'm sorry, then it's yours. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me. My name is Daryl King. Again, I'm City of Evanston. I'm the Water Production Bureau Chief here with the city. And today, we're going to talk about, conserving and saving, and all of us. By the time this presentation is over, we'll all be water smart. I guarantee you. Next slide, please.
Sure.
So as an example, water, sewer, and sanitation billing schedule, for instance, water usage and sanitation services for November and December, the billing month would be January. So you all actually just received a water bill here recently. And of course, the due date would be in February. And so here in Evanston, we bill bi-monthly or every 2 months. And that comes out to a total of 6 water bills per month here in Evanston. Next slide. So just digging more into the water rates, the effective dates is January 1st, 2020 is indicated on the slide. The rates did not change. So these same rates from last year are still effective as of January 1st of 2021 as well. We do bill, or our rate is in cubic feet. And you might be asking, why are you guys doing that? Why aren't you just doing it in gallons? 5 years ago, when I started with the city, I asked the same question: why are we doing cubic feet? But there is a very simple conversion. 1 cubic foot is equal to 7.48 gallons. So as long as you have that conversion, you can divide or multiply, go back and forth, and you can go from cubic feet to gallons very easily. And so there's a minimum charge every 2 months based upon the water meter size. And for the most part here in Evanston, water meters are 5/8 or 3/4 of an inch. So every 2 months, the minimum charge would be $10.33 for the water. And then after that, following that, the minimum service charge includes the first 500 cubic feet of water consumed. So 500 cubic feet, that's 3,740 gallons of water. And then after that, $2.89 per 100 cubic feet of water usage over the minimum. So 100 cubic feet, that's 748 gallons. So anything over the minimum, the 500 cubic feet, the charge is $2.89. Now, when we look at the sewer, so there's a water meter associated with the water that you use in the house. The sewer rate is determined based off of that same consumption. And so that's also in cubic feet. Minimum sewer charge every 2 months is $6.20. And that includes the first 500 cubic feet of water usage, which again is 3,740 gallons. And then $3.24 per 100 cubic feet of water usage over the minimum. And so that's how the sewer rate is, or the sewer charges are applied. Next slide. So as an example here, we're looking at, a typical single family home of 4, 2 adults, two children. And so the bi-monthly minimum charge with the water rate, $10.33. Rate per 100 cubic feet over 500 cubic feet is $2.89, which we talked about. And so the assumptions that we've made for that scenario, gallons per day, 258 gallons per day. And when you think about that, you consume in terms of drinking less than 0.5% of that. So we consume very little water. Most of the water that we use is typically taking a shower, flushing toilets, things like that. So that's where most of it comes from. And then that annual bill would look like, you know, for water, $357.75, you know, for a typical scenario with these assumptions. And then the sewer rate, again, $6.20, the minimum charge, you know, the over 100 cubic feet over the 500 minimum cubic feet, or the first 500 cubic feet, I'll say $3.24. That same 258 gallons per day, and that would come out to $390.03. So if you combine both of those, water and sewer, annually, you know, for this scenario, that's about $750, somewhere around in there, for both water and sewer rates. Next slide. And so the city of Evanston, at no charge to our water customers, our residents, you can monitor your water use and you can start saving. And so we offer the free WaterSmart tool to help you track your home's water use and spending. And that's how we become WaterSmart, just the resources that we have. We know more about the water that we're using and how to manage that water better. And this tool helps us do that. So, you know, ways to save, get personalized step-by-step actions, very important. How you compare, see how your water use compares to similar homes. So you're able to do that. And something that's very important and an excellent tool is you can get notified about potential leaks. And so any customer right now that we have a valid email address, you're already getting these alerts, and you can opt out. If you see the email, you can opt out if that's something that you're not interested. But that's something that automatically happens if we have a valid email address for you. Next slide. And so there are 3 steps to start saving. Number 1, log on. You go to cityofelvanston.watersmart.com, and then you can register. You can use your account number listed on your water bill as your registration code. And then once you're in, you can personalize. You can answer a simple profile survey to provide accurate comparisons to similar households. Next slide. And so once you arrive at the landing page, this is what it looks like. If you're registered already, you put your information, your login password there. If not, you can go where it says sign up under forgot password, and this is where you would actually start the sign up process. Next slide. And so once you're in, you know, you're able to, you know, I want to, you know, check if I have a leak. I can look at understanding a high bill. You can look at your water bill in here. You can look at your daily use, you know, gallons per day. You can look at notifications. You can look at recommendations. You can look at any tweets that the city has sent out, you know, pertaining to you know, something water related. So next slide. And so this here, you're able to drill down even more and say, you know, I want to look at, you know, my hourly usage, day, week, you know, 2 weeks, 2 months, or by the year. And this example, you know, we're looking at it by the year. The blue is indicating normal use. The red or the orange, I would say, is like a burst of water or a possible leak. And so, this software is able to tell you, so if it's 12 midnight and typically your water use is really low, and all of a sudden you're using water for whatever reasons, a running toilet in the basement that nobody ever goes to is the usual suspect. This will actually capture that, and it'll send you an alert via email. And so this is just an example of what that resource and what that tool looks like once you go inside. Next slide. And so you can also look at, recommended actions. Install a high efficiency toilet, 22 gallons per day or $49 a year in potential savings. Install a faucet aerator, 14 gallons per day, $37 a year. Take a 5-minute shower. That's a big one. A lot of times their kids will come home from college and all of a sudden they're taking 20-minute showers and the water bill goes up and they call us upset, and we said, okay, we find out that the kid came home from college. So, a 5-minute shower is a big one. 10 gallons per day, $27 per year. And so, you can go through each one of these recommended actions and choose. You may just say, hey, it's a 5-minute shower policy in this house. And that's what we're going to do, to capture our water savings. Or, you can do a combination. So it's really up to you. Next slide. And so this represents our registrations. And as you can see, there's only 14.9% people registered for this. It's a free service. We have 14,400 registered or accounts total. And of that, only 2242 are registered. And so we want to get that number, that percentage way up, 80%, 85%, 90%, 100 is great, but we definitely want to get that up. And a lot of the outreach, for this, you may say, I've never heard of this before. A lot of the outreach we do with this on most water bills, we put information on there about signing up for WaterSmart. So, and then with events like this, so, I don't know how people look at their water bills. When I get mine, I sometimes I look at it kind of close. Sometimes I don't look at it so close. So, it just kind of depends on the person. But we definitely want to get these registrations up because this is a valuable tool. Next slide. And so this is an example of just, if you have a cell phone, it can come right to your cell phone. This is an example of a leak notification. And so it comes right to your phone via your email. So this is just an example of that. Next slide. And so the expert, if you want more information about WaterSmart, Vicki Biner, she's our customer service and meter service coordinator. A wealth of knowledge. Vicki's been with the city over 30 years, 35 years, something like that. And she just has a wealth of knowledge about WaterSmart, and she's a wonderful person to work with. And so you can contact Vicki. You can email her at water@cityofevanston.org, or you can simply call 311 and ask for Vicki, and she'll follow up with you as soon as she can. Next slide. And so that's all I have. Any questions?
I'm checking the chat. Maybe we all have it. Oh, here's a question. The question from Robin says, is WaterSmart available for condos?
It's available for anyone that has a water account. So if each individual condo owner has an account number, then they can sign up for the WaterSmart resource.
Okay. And Joy says she will sign up. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Hink. I'm the Transportation and Mobility Coordinator for the City of Evanston. Let's go to the next slide. And so first I want to start off just by showing you emissions by mode. And you might notice that this is an example from Victoria, a state in Australia, but I like it because it's pretty similar to what you'd see in the US as far as emissions are concerned by mode. And I like the balloons that get larger and larger as you have less, or as you have more greenhouse gas emissions. And so obviously with biking and walking, you're not going to have greenhouse gas emissions, but when you're driving by yourself, you're going to have the most greenhouse gas emissions. Let's go to the next slide. I think we all know that walking doesn't cost anything, and that there are many benefits, exercise benefits from walking. Something that I see a lot is people really underestimate how long it takes to drive somewhere and park and maybe get, pay for parking versus walking. I apologize. There's a mistake on this last line. It should be 1 mile for every 15 to 20 minutes by walking. So for every 1 mile that you walk, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. And in Evanston, we're 3 miles by 3 miles. And so you can get pretty far in Evanston and walk most places without it actually taking too long to get there. And so maybe consider what trips you can convert to walking locally to help reduce those greenhouse gas emissions by car. And we're a walk-friendly community with a gold rating, which means compared to other places in the US, we have much better walking amenities. And so I'd really encourage you to use them. Next slide. Then when we look at biking, so for a mile, you can get anywhere walking in 15 to 20 minutes. And for biking, you can get about 3 to 5 miles for every 15 to 20 minutes. So you can really go a lot farther. You could go from one end of Evanston to the other in about 15 to 20 minutes if you want. Again, we know that you can burn calories by biking. That's going to look like about 250 to 300 calories. It's also pretty similar to the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that you would save as well. And then if you want to maybe get rid of a car, if you're a family with multiple cars, and you need to go even farther than that, there are really great options for electric bikes. I've seen families in Evanston where the entire family was on one bike, like the example in the right. Obviously, they're not biking right now in that example, but you can have the entire family on one bike with the new options that are available. If you want to save money, though, electric bikes are more costly, but they are much cheaper than a car and maintaining a car. If you want an even cheaper option, then I would say that most bike shops, including bike shops in Evanston, have options for used bikes that have been repaired. And so that could be a way of saving on getting a bike. And if you're not sure it's for you yet, that would be another great entryway, is getting a used bike. Next slide. Another option would be looking at a Divvy bike share. The map on the lower right shows where stations are, and we now also have electric dockless bikes in Evanston, which means you don't have to dock them at a station. You can dock them anywhere in Evanston. However, there is an additional cost for not docking at a station that I want to make sure you're aware of. When you're looking at Divvy Bike Share membership, it's $108 for a year, which averages out to about $9 per month. They do want you to pay that entire amount at one time in a year. If that is a lot for you to pay for a person, there's also the Divvy for Everyone program. So if you meet the income requirements for that program, it's only $5 for the entire year to have access to a bike. And that includes the electric bikes. I should also note that there is a per minute fee for using the dockless bikes as well, but you can get there faster. So just something to be aware of is that there is a premium for using the dockless electric bikes. It's reduced for Divvy for Everyone memberships, and you're still going to be paying less than you would with a car. I'd also like, if you want to find out more information, I have the website here. So let's go to the next slide. If you really want to compare different modes, so the cost of owning a bike or getting a Divvy membership or even using public transit, I encourage you to go to go to nerdwallet.com, and you can look up total monthly car cost calculator for yourself. This is the average for America. This is what NerdWallet has put in as what they have found to be average costs. So it's $878 total monthly expense for car ownership when you're looking at your car payment, perhaps your insurance, looking at gas and other maintenance. So that really adds up. So if you can reduce the number of cars in your household, this is a really strong argument for why using a bike or other modes would be useful, or even switching to public transit. Next slide. However, some people just cannot get rid of a car. Maybe you already only have one car in your family, and you're looking for ways to be greener about your driving or to find a more fuel efficient vehicle. The EPA rates every new vehicle and they give it a SmartWay vehicle rating. And they've done this for several years now. So even if you were looking at a used car, you could see what the SmartWay rating was when that vehicle was first produced. Another option that you can use is looking at fueleconomy.gov, and they have lots of great tips for how to save fuel. Some of them are maybe ones that you've heard of before, like turning off your engine if you're idling more for 10 seconds, or trying to coast up to a stop sign instead of speeding up to that stop sign or stoplight and then braking quickly. If you can coast to a stop, you're going to have more fuel efficient vehicles. And so if you go to this website, they're going to have lots of great tips for how to reduce your fuel consumption. You can also calculate the emissions that you're producing from your vehicle at this site, and you can find a car, and they also include the SmartWay EPA vehicle ratings. If you're looking at a new car at a dealership, you want to see this US EPA certified SmartWay logo that we have at the bottom here. And that will tell you if it's a highly rated energy efficient vehicle. Next slide. And now I will open up for questions.
Joy, you sent that just to me, but I can read it out loud. She said that she read that Recyclery Collective on 7628 North Paulina in Chicago sells refurbished bicycles just in south of Evanston.
That's absolutely right. And that's a great resource for everyone to use to get a refurbished bike. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other questions in the chat. Thank you very much, Jessica.
Hi, everyone. I'm the last presentation today, and then we'll open up to questions for all the presenters. I am Liam Engel. I'm the Greenest Region Core member that's focused on waste policy in the Office of Sustainability for Evanston. And for the presentation, I'm going to focus on residential options, but feel free to ask questions about commercial options at the end as well. Next slide, please. So briefly, I'm just going to touch on garbage, recycling, composting, both at home and the city offered options, and then we'll get to questions for all of us. Next, please. So I want to start off with garbage specifically for small residential trash collection service, which includes any residential building in Evanston with 4 or less units, such as small condo buildings, co-ops, townhomes, or single family homes. And there are 2 main service categories available to Evanston residents, which are 65-gallon containers and 95-gallon containers, which come with an extra 30-gallon bag. And you can see there's a substantial price difference between them. And then each additional container costs $9.14 per unit every month. So the main cost saving mechanism here is that this smaller container size can save money every month, especially since there's no additional charge for recycling, which I will mention more shortly. And briefly, I want to touch on the other services, which are for large, like condos and apartments that are greater than 4 units, which are charged under other contracts. But for those large condos, the city charges a monthly per unit rate of $8.85 for each condo unit. And for apartments, it can vary based on the level of service in the building, but the prices can be found on the commercial and business services page of the city website. Next slide, please. So recycling, for small residential recycling collection, which is under the same contract I mentioned earlier for townhomes and single family homes, the recycling charge is included in the price paid for garbage, which means there's no additional charge for recycling. And both 65-gallon and 95-gallon containers are offered, but there's no cost for additional containers. So this is a great way to save money. Basically, if you're able to increase your recycling at all, you could reduce your garbage service to the 65-gallon option. As well, we're also looking into other service options in the future, which I would, of course, let you all know as soon as I know more about. But that would be the same main mechanism here. And carts can be requested through 311. And the link for that can be found on the city's website by going to the residential and condo services page, which is also where you'll find information about garbage and compost as well. And similar to the residential service, recycling is included with the garbage cost for condos. For apartments, it's a little different, but the first 95-gallon container is free as well. And at the bottom of this slide, I just showed some of the advertisements or like media campaign that we've been using to inform more about what is recyclable. Okay, next slide. So at-home composting is a great option to reduce fees as well. There are lots of different ways to compost successfully, either by making or buying containers. I personally use a barrel container that you spin every once in a while, but I know there's also, people have also had great luck with like vermiculture, which involves worms, or larger like square structures like that can go either directly into the garden or into a square structure that's shown on the right there. On the website, there's a lot of, on the City of Evanston webpage, there's a lot of resources to get you started, specifically on the backyard composting page. And carts can be requested through 311 as well. And this practice basically saves substantial on garbage service, since so much excess / expired food is often thrown away. And besides saving on garbage service, composting also helps reduce greenhouse gases. From the EPA, food is the single largest category of material placed in municipal landfills right now, where it emits methane, which is a powerful greenhouse gas, much stronger than carbon dioxide. So any option to reduce that is great for both your price and for the environment at large. Next slide, please. So then there are 2 service options for composting through the city as well. If you might not have the space for composting at home or just would prefer a city option that would get picked up every week. So our main option is the food and yard waste program. This program runs in the spring, summer, and fall. And our other main option is a collective resource compost company, which is specifically focused on food waste, but also can include a lot of organic materials besides that. So for the food and yard waste program, there is a 95-gallon cart that costs $82.50 to get. And then there's just an annual fee of $25 to continue using that service every week. And it's, as I said, it's three seasons every year. And for collective resource compost, besides just the food and yard waste that the main program offers, collective resource compost can also compost other organic items like cotton balls or even like 100% cotton clothing. And they both have like a 5-gallon bucket, sorry about that, weekly or bi-weekly program, as well as a neighbor totes program where you can pool with a couple neighbors and have one composting tote for you all. And also like save money that way by having it be a little cheaper. And so you can order a cart from the food and yard waste program, the first option, on the order form at thecityofevanston.org/waste. And these yard waste fees are assessed annually and will appear on residents' November water bill. And then for CRC, I discussed the options, and CRC service are a bit more expensive than the food and yard waste program. Bi-weekly service costs around $20.50 per month. But that's partially offset, I would say, by the amount of waste and variety of waste they can take in, since it's so much wider variety, like it could substantially reduce garbage service. And so for full information on both services, you can visit the food and yard waste service webpage on the City of Evanston website. You can go to the next slide. So yeah, those are the main services we offer, and I'm happy to answer any questions, and also we can open it up to any of the presentations as well.
Thank you, Liam.
If people have any more questions, we'll make sure to put our contact information in the chat. Oh, there's questions.
Perfect.
Oh.
I use the city food waste. Can I get compost for my garden somewhere? I'm not sure about that. I will check back in with you. I don't know if compost material is available to residents, but I can definitely check. I don't know, Bea, if you knew.
I am not from, no, not that I know. There's like no, they don't promote it, so I haven't heard of that. I know Collective Resource sometimes does give the option of going to the place where they do put away their food scraps, and sometimes they sell it. Last year they were giving it away. I guess it was like a extraordinary year, but no, actually there isn't so far. And Matthias, does Evanston have styrofoam recycling? I don't know if you want to answer.
Yeah, I can answer that, but no, it does not. Styrofoam is not recyclable pretty much ever, as far as I know. So it's definitely something to avoid as much as possible.
Yeah, I think you can take it to the Winnetka Public Works. They do take, like, I think it's the big blocks. And also, if you know somebody in Skokie residents can recycle their styrofoam. So it cannot be the clam containers, but like the meat or fish trays and any other type of styrofoam, if it's cleaned, they do recycle it. So I know it's not the way to go, but it depends on the hauler and it depends on the contract. So far, not here in Evanston.
Thanks, Bea.
Hmm. And yeah, Joyce said it would be good that that we would be able to get compost. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great point. I will definitely look into that.
Mhm. I have a question with regards to contamination in the recycling. Do you know what you're finding most, or what is the biggest problem, or what the city is doing about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is just leaving like food or liquids
Mm,
within containers, which I know is pretty tough, but just being able to clean it out as good as possible definitely helps with the contamination issue, since it's just like adds on, it's additive within recycling. But I'm not sure the exact levels of like how much of our recycling is certified as like contaminated and not recycled. But that's something I have been wanting to start publishing onto the city website once I receive that data.
okay, thank you. Okay, Sally says, I compost and only have about 1 bag of garbage a month, so I'm glad to find out recycling is also included in my bill. Also, will sign up for Water Smart. Thank you all. Wonderful. Thank you, Sally. Okay. And Aja is adding her email if you're interested in community solar. Okay. Okay, and Liam is adding his email too. Any information that you might have missed or that you need extra, you can either contact them or contact me. And also stay tuned for more of the events from the library. Some will come from the city of Evanston, some will come from other community partners. So I hope you'll enjoy those. Well,
Also, this was recorded, so it will be posted hopefully on the city's webpage for anyone that could not stay.
yeah, and thank you
Mainly.
for that, Liam.
No problem.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And have a good night.
You all
Thank
have
you.
a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, thank you.